In this presentation, I shall argue that the notion of university cannot be separated from certain regulative ideas whereby is meant reason. Reason in the Kantian sense, going beyond the limitations of time and space. These regulative ideas are the values of truth, critical acumen, and mutual understanding among humans, and respect for differences of morals, moral and intellectual points of views. We may wonder, we may wonder what role for humanities in the Moroccan universities. A bit of history will not do any harm. Join in Professor Deby, for those who do not know him. He's an eminent professor of English, and he was at certain time dean of the School of Humanities in Al-Akhawain. And he said in his argument that, I quote, "Bringing the university up to date means reinforcing disciplines of science and technology, economy, and management. This, of course, is done at the expense of the humanities and social sciences." Let me take you back to the title of this conference. The title of this conference is University, Entrepreneurship and University. And this title itself is an indication. Let me fumble into my papers like those imams during the khutbah al-Jumu'ah. Titles in a certain sense, and particularly following, I started with Kant, and particularly reason, pure reason. Now I move to another follower, who is Jacques Derrida, another deconstructive and deconstruction leaders and gurus of philosophy. Titles mark a certain frame, boundary, or limit, and I believe we should begin here. Entrepreneurship and university. They are meant to be borders between the supposed outside and what is inside. Now, entrepreneurship is that anachronistic element that's crept into what we understand as the stronghold of thinking and of thought. That's the university. Now, let me take you back in history, and particularly to the 230 strategic vision, whereby it was an intent on reforming, not reforming the reform of the reform of the reform. If we go back into history of reform of the university, Morocco witnessed more than 10, if my memory doesn't fail me, more than 10 reforms, starting from late 60s and up to 2003. And now we are in the process of another reform of the reform. But what is the objective? What is the philosophy behind these reforms? Now we are called upon to reform another reform. And this reform will be an ad infinitum series of changes, but for what objective? The most important element in all this process is the human element. The human element, which is taking again cue from the very recent style vogue, which is what we call post-humanism. We no more talk about the human, but we talk about post-human. We will talk about robots. Now, if the role of university is to enforce that sense of belonging to a realm of humanity and reducing that human element into a simple machine, this recalls the movie I, Robot. And Isaac Asimov, before, in the 70s, wrote about robots as an anticipation of what is expected from human beings. Now, let me come back to what makes the human being. What makes the human being? The human being is a very important element in every process of development, without which nothing can function. We have heard about the introduction of entrepreneurial in 2003. Entrepreneurial as subject in the programs of schools of letters. But what kind of entrepreneurial? This is the question. We teach people not how to start entreprise or enterprises, but we teach people, we inform them about the existence of something which is alien to the context. This only meant in schools of humanities, but not of science. Now, this is a kind of plea for humanities to be restored. Now, if you go to European or Western universities, humanities have a very strong position, not unlike our own universities, where humanities are completely marginalized, and everything that is capitalized is a what they call, pseudo between inverted commas, what they call exact sciences. Do we need human beings or do we need machines? Now, with this new style of what we call artificial intelligence, now we are really in a very, sorry to use the word, but we are in the mire. Okay? We are in the mire where human beings have no more in a position. Now, I recall something from Jürgen Habermas. People who are familiar with the public sphere. Who owns the public sphere? Who controls the public sphere? Habermas at a certain time, and unfortunately, this is a quote, but it is in French. Are we after, now look here are some people over there who are having very nice chats. This is people who are going to assume the role sometime. And these are the fans of Chat GPT. Now, le savoir, okay, la traduction. This is Jürgen Habermas, not Sabil. Le savoir passe non plus par une rationalité matérielle, mais par une rationalité procédurale. This is unquote. The problem we have now in every endeavor is a problem of methodology. It's a problem of method. And that's why every time we try to embark on any change, the method is lacking. How we approach the field of humanities. Let me, I hope j'ai encore un peu. Je pense que oui, allez-y. 5 minutes, d'accord. Peut-être que, not peut-être. Sorry, not peut-être. Okay, sorry. Now, If we speak about humanities, we need to speak about humanities in terms of what they offer to society. The creation of us and developing a sense of belonging, sense of civism. That's what is lacking in all this, what we call science, propensity, and inclination. That's the sense of belonging. And that's why we have now this tendency towards making, not, look what I say, making, construction. Okay? Construction of the human element and of a good citizen. What do we expect? Can we have, now we speak about enterprises, but we speak about civic enterprises, where you have a sense of belonging and a sense of willingness to contribute to the development of our society. Now, all of this is bound by a sense of what we call a socio-economic condition. Now, the economic is hampering, in a sense, the development of this sense of civism in human beings. L'appartenance, le sens d'appartenance à une société. This is what is lacking in all this machine. Okay? Perhaps to close this presentation, perhaps we are what Gilles Deleuze calls at certain time. Gilles Deleuze, a French philosopher, who said sometimes that we are belonging to a war machine that is fed, okay, that is fed on its own elements, on its own human elements. Now, to end with, okay, the university should keep to its function as creator of a human being capable of thinking, okay, because what is lacking, c'est la capacité de penser. Et merci.
Merci. Merci beaucoup, professeur Sabil, pour votre présentation et aussi d'avoir respecté le temps, même moins que le temps qui vous a été imparti. En tout cas, votre intervention a été, si je puis dire, assez philosophique, puisque vous avez principalement insisté sur la composante humaine, que ce soit au sein de, si j'ai bien compris, hein, que ce soit au sein de l'entreprise ou à l'université, et l'importance du capital humain, et que le plus important, c'est que l'université a une mission avant tout de former de vrais citoyens, d'accord, qui par la suite deviendront de vrais entrepreneurs. Et aussi, et là je vous rejoins principalement, parce qu'après l'entreprise en tant qu'organisation, c'est aussi des personnes, des êtres humains qui travaillent dans une entreprise. C'est un environnement où il y a des relations sociales qui se nouent au sein de l'entreprise, et donc l'élément humain est très présent et très important dans toute réussite de projet d'entreprise. C'est la raison pour laquelle d'ailleurs de plus en plus on assiste au développement de métiers tels que le coaching, l'accompagnement et tout ça, parce que les ressources humaines, le capital humain, l'humain est très important au sein de l'entreprise en général. Et je pense que c'est là aussi deux éléments très importants qui ressortent dans la réforme, la énième réforme, comme l'a rappelé Settat Sabil, de l'université et de l'architecture pédagogique. C'est les fameux soft skills. Donc il y a toute une une partie importante dédiée aux soft skills dans la nouvelle architecture pédagogique. Donc, merci professeur Sabil. Et puis on passe directement, toujours en relation avec le capital humain et avec monsieur Phillipe Beaujean qui intervient sur la question des aptitudes à développer dès l'université pour devenir entrepreneur. Alors, dans le système anglo-saxon, on sait que l'entrepreneuriat chez eux, il commence à partir du scolaire, primaire et lycée. Dans le système francophone, on est un peu... Elle arrive qu'au niveau de l'université, pardon. Et donc, Philippe va rappeler les principales choses qu'il va falloir développer à l'université pour devenir entrepreneur. Mais avant de vous céder la parole, cher Philippe, je me permets de rappeler un peu votre biographie. Philippe Beaujean, il a derrière lui une carrière internationale de plus de 20 ans en tant que consultant en management et performance, ingénieur commercial de formation, diplômé de HEC Saint-Louis à Bruxelles. Il débute sa carrière en tant qu'administrateur d'un centre européen d'entreprise et d'innovation dans une région sinistrée économiquement. Sa mission, c'est de relancer l'économie en suscitant l'entrepreneuriat et en accompagnant les porteurs de projets et les startups. Sa carrière se poursuivra en donnant du conseil au sein des PME d'abord pour migrer ensuite vers les grandes entreprises et les multinationales. Il se définit comme un consultant, un formateur. Il intervient également dans plusieurs business schools du Royaume où il enseigne entre autres la conduite du changement, le coaching pour manager ou les compétences générales pour manager, le coaching pour manager ou les compétences générales pour ingénieur. À vous la parole, cher ami.